Coming to you live on your news channel GBC24 and GTV. This is News Hour. My name is Akmene Avo Ajaja.
And my name is Emmanuel Amagashi. Robert Frempomans will be our signer for tonight.
In the details is day one of the extension for re-registering voters who use their NHIS cards to register to vote in election 2016. The extension was to allow those who for some reason missed out on the 10-day window allotted for registrants whose names were deleted from the voters' roll to re-register.
However, electoral officers say turnout is still not encouraging. Meanwhile, the EC has set August 19 and 26 to register first-time registrants.
The Electoral Commission extended the re-registration period for those whose names were deleted from the voters' register from the 5th to the 12th of August 2016. The instruction is for such persons to go to the various district electoral offices across the country. GBC24 visited the Ayawaso district office of the EC, and the exercise was ongoing, but the numbers were not encouraging and there were no challenges with the process. The electoral officer for the district, Mr. Nantoma Rashid, said he expects about 2,000 people to come and register before the deadline.
So far, we have a little over 20 coming to register. No, we have just started, and we're hoping that as the days go by, the numbers will pick up.
At the Osu-Klote district office, only 10 people had come to register as at 11 a.m. However, electoral officers were optimistic that the over 1,000 affected persons will visit the center during this period. Affected persons can re-register with a national identification card, passport, driver's license, or 2 guarantors.
Another municipal office of the Electoral Commission at Wa, our Upper West Regional correspondent Swala Abdul Wahab reports that the exercise recorded low patronage.
When GBC24 visited the Wa Municipal Electoral Office around 12 noon, there was nobody there to re-register. However, Municipal Electoral Officer Mr. Jackson Ano in an interview on phone said 31 out of 236 re-registered in the first phase of the re-registration exercise in the municipality. The Deputy Regional Director of the Electoral Commission, Mr. Ali Osman, also said the region re-registered 48 out of 253 people who had their names deleted in the first phase, representing only 19%. GBC24 also visited some exhibition centers, including New Post Office, Dan Ibu A and B, Kambali Primary A and B, and Circuit Court. At Dan Ibu A and New Post Office, no verification were done as at 12:45 p.m.
Now, away from that story, the strike action declared by Clocksack is still ongoing. On GBC24's rounds on Friday, there was virtually no activity at some ministries in Accra. The Civil Servants Association headquarters was empty and there was no receptionist at post. A security officer who declined to speak on camera said there was no officer around. It was, however, a different situation at a number of ministries. Although there were red bands and notices from Clocksack announcing that the strike action was in place till further notice, it was evident that workers were at post. They declined to speak on camera though. Last week Wednesday, Clocksack declared a strike over government's failure to pay its members interim premium. The public sector salary structure body, Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, however, says the association does not deserve to be paid the premium.
The Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority at Zwarungu in Bolgatanga has destroyed fake and expired drugs, aphrodisiacs, cigarettes and Indian hemp. The assorted contraband goods were seized from traders.
At a media interaction after burning the items at the disposal site in Bolga, Sirigu, the Chief Revenue Officer in charge of preventives, Henry Atampuguri, said most of the seized goods were being imported from Togo and Burkina Faso. Despite efforts to deal with the illicit drug menace, many contraband goods are sneaked in. Mr. Atampuguri said the Indian hemp is often smuggled from some parts of the region to neighboring countries where it was more profitable. He said some of the seized goods were fake and expired, while other traders also evaded tax, hence their seizure. The Chief Revenue Officer warned that his outfit would step up the fight against such offenders and reminded businessmen to honor their tax obligations whenever they import goods.
We would, in our public education programs, educate importers, some of whom are illiterate, that this is the situation we have now. So there is no incentive for you to smuggle any item. Whether you take it to Togo or Ghana or Nigeria, it's the same rate of duty. So they should comply, then come and pay to avoid any seizures and then whatever.
The Regional Director of the Food and Drugs Authority, Zakaria Brahma, warned the general public to be on the lookout for fake and expired goods. He warned traders that buying and selling of such goods was an offense punishable by law. Officials from the Food and Drugs Authority, the Environmental Protection Agency, the BNI, and the Environmental Unit of the Bolgatanga Municipal Assembly, as well as the media, witnessed the burning of goods.
To the Volta region now, where the Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority has again stated the authority's readiness to collaborate with other agencies in the country to achieve an incident-free elections. Mr. George Blankson has therefore charged officers of the GRA who will be drafted to perform election duties to maintain a high sense of diligence and neutrality.
The 103 senior cadets were taken through intensive training for national tax collection and protection. They were also trained in customs management, customs operational regimes, as well as paramilitary drills. The new officers will augment the number of personnel within the customs division of the Ghana Revenue Authority to ensure effective collection of revenue. The Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Mr. George Blankson, said the authority has in recent years directed resources to improve the capacity and facilities at the GRA Academy and all of its training facilities in the country. He charged the officers to exhibit high level of professionalism to enhance revenue mobilization when deployed to their various sectors.
This year, the clarion call has been that Ghana must experience a peaceful election, and it is the expectation of the board and management of the Ghana Revenue Authority that in the event of your being drafted to perform election duties, you will maintain the highest sense of diligence and neutrality in maintaining peace and order during the election process alongside other security agencies.
The Commissioner General and his entourage also inspected a newly constructed office complex for the Academy.
It's still News Hour live on GBC24 and GTV. Statistics from the Ghana Fire Service show that from 2011 to 2015, over 24,000 fire outbreaks occurred in the country. Domestic fires accounted for close to half of these fires. For this reason, the Fire Service has launched a home fire safety campaign to ensure safety in the home. The wife of the Vice President, Mrs. Matilda Misa Arthur, who was at the launch of the campaign, called for cooperation with the service in the fight against domestic fires. Theodora Medeto reports.
The Home Fire Safety Campaign aims to put in place fire safety measures in homes. This is to ensure that domestic fires are prevented and the extent of damage minimized in worst cases. As part of the campaign, the Ghana National Fire Service would provide technical advice for building plans in respect of machinery and structural layout to facilitate fire management and escape from fire. Homeowners and individuals would also be advised to obtain fire certificate indicating that homes meet the minimum fire safety requirement. The launch of the campaign came on the heels of recent fire outbreaks in the country. Pickup vehicles and motorbikes have been made available to facilitate an effective campaign. The Chief Fire Officer, Dr. Albert Brown-Gazy, said it is the duty of the Ghana National Fire Service to adopt measures to mitigate fire outbreaks in the country.
The trapping and burning to death of some of our compatriots in this country in their homes recently, to be specific, Mampong Ashanti, Santase, where 7 and 3 people lost their lives respectively, brings to fore the urgent need to embark on this campaign to ensure total safety of the citizenry, especially in their homes.
The wife of the Vice President, Mrs. Matilda Mr. Arthur, pointed to the need for the fire service to put in place communication strategies to sensitize the public about the campaign and how to keep the home safe.
The time has therefore come for all of us to take fire safety and prevention serious so that we can build a better nation for ourselves, our children, and the generations yet unborn. Let us therefore say no to activities and attitudes that compromise fire safety. Fire safety is a shared responsibility. I therefore call on all the good people of Ghana to embrace this campaign and partner the Ghana National Fire Service to ensure public safety, especially in our homes.
The initiative is on the theme Fire Safety, a Shared Responsibility, and is a collaboration between the Ghana National Fire Service and private actors who would provide the service with finance and requisite technology under the Public-Private Partnership Service Delivery. Theodora Medeto, GBC24, Accra.
Hello, good evening and welcome. We bring you some business. I am Dorothy Ajamine. The Power Ministry on Thursday suspended all activities and engagements by external parties on 3 properties belonging to the VRA until further consultations are done. The decision follows agitations by the staff of VRA on a proposed lease of the T3 plant and a parcel of land at the Gbong Thermal Power Station to private companies.
There was a unanimous agreement at the meeting that all forms of engagement with the companies, namely Ameri, Sonon Asogli, and the Ghana Power Generation Company, be put on hold until finality is reached. Head of Corporate Communication at the VRA, Gertrude Kumsen, told GBC24 that finality will be brought to the matter after 2 weeks of consultations.
The decision yesterday from the ministry was that we meet in 2 weeks. During this period, if there are any communications, clarifications, consultations that need to be done, then we have time to do it. On the other hand, if there's any activity perceived or real that is going on in any of these 3 locations that have been identified or is under discussion, it should be put on hold.
She revealed that the idea of handing over T3 to a private entity is a proposal on the table and not a final decision as reported in the media.
Many companies have shown interest in various aspects of power generation. One example is the MRP, which is the Mines Reserve Plant. It's a strategic reserve plant, let me say. It's also one of the things that were raised by the staff groups. So the fact of the matter is, what has been done so far about these plants, this is what we are going to bring to the table. Decisions have not been made as far as I know, and even from the documents that have been presented that I have in my possession, no decision has been made on any of the 3 issues raised by the staff groups.
She added that the final decision to cede the T3 plant to Ameri will be entirely dependent on VRA's ability to fix and manage it.
What will it take to fix? So, can VRA fix it? VRA should answer that question. So, we should be able to answer that question.
The decision by the Power Ministry to give the T3 plant in the Abuazi Thermal Enclave a parcel of land at the Pung Thermal Power Station and the MRP at the Thermal Power Station to the private companies has been opposed by the workers of VRA, who cited cases of unfairness.
The Ghana Cashew Policy Draft has been launched in Accra. When passed into law, the policy will lead to the diversification of the country's export base and increase foreign exchange earnings.
Cashew cultivation in Ghana started in the 1960s with sporadic plantings in the central and greater Accra regions and later in the Bonahofu region, northern, upper east and upper west regions. Between 1970 and 1980, the industry suffered a setback due to the absence of the needed support in terms of policies to facilitate its development. Issues like low producer prices, underdeveloped market structures, and inadequate information regarding appropriate husbandry practice for the commodity caused farmers' enthusiasm in the crop to wane. With the introduction of the Economic Recovery Program (ERP) in 1983, the interest in cashew cultivation was rekindled. Cashew was identified as one of the major non-traditional crops to be developed as part of government efforts to diversify the country's export base. To increase the overall level of science, technology, research and development for innovation in the cashew sector, the Ghana Cashew Policy has been launched. The Director of Policy Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation Division of the Ministry of Trade and Industry, Mr. Ebenezer Paddy Ejakon, urged individuals and farmers to make good use of the meager resources available to help develop the industry.
Let us make productive and profitable use of our time and resources and limited resources, so that at the end of the day we can come up with a document that will meet the test of time.
The Executive Secretary of Cashew Industries Association of Ghana, Mr. Aaron Achia, noted that the country could attain the goal drafted in the policy if 90% of raw cashew nuts were processed.
If we are able to streamline activities like we have outlined, I hope cashew will be running at par with cocoa.
The impact of cashew production on the socio-economic development of the country, particularly around the Middle Belt, is enormous. Countries like India, Brazil and Vietnam are reaping the benefits of cashew.
You watch News Hour, and this is the business segment. On the interbank market, the dollar is still hovering around 3 cedis 94 pesos, with a pound selling at 5 cedis 17 pesos. On the commodity board, light crude experienced a loss, while cocoa had the highest increase of $32. This segment was brought to you by Airtel and Ernest Chemist. Coming up is insurance news. Microinsurance differs from conventional insurance because it does not cover multiple policies to make it complicated. Microinsurance is therefore designed to meet clear-cut and not multiplicity of risk. This is because the risk insured under a microinsurance policy is managed based on insurance principles and funded by premiums. The target clients are those who are ignored by mainstream commercial insurance and social insurance schemes. The head of supervision at the National Insurance Commission, Mr. Kofi Ando, said with the current insurance penetration, which is a little above 1%, the campaign of microinsurance education is timely.
If you take microinsurance, each policy covers very specific things. One, like the hospital admission policy. When you get sick and you are admitted at the hospital, then it compensates you. It's just one risk. It is unlike a household policy where if your house catches fire, they will pay you something. If your house is flooded or if thieves break into your house. You see, these are all different things. But when you take microinsurance, they cover simple, specific things straight to the point. And the objective there is to make it simple so people will understand them and appreciate what they do. We want insurance to cover the ordinary Ghanaian, the petty trader, the fishmonger, the fisherman, the carpenter, the mason. These are people who ordinarily will not have access to the traditional insurance product. But microinsurance is about providing access to insurance to everybody.
The insurance news was brought to you by SIC Live. We have more news coming up. Please do stay.
In health news, Africa risks total collapse from viral infections if its leaders fail to admit and respond appropriately to the continent's fragile health systems and poor infrastructure. Under the auspices of the Society for AIDS in Africa, stakeholders from across the continent are meeting in Accra to assess Africa's preparedness for emerging viral infections such as Ebola, HIV/AIDS, Lassa, and Zika, and their modes of transmission. Sarah Ofori reports.
The economies of countries worst hit by Ebola recently are on their knees. Sierra Leone lost over $200 million in GDP, whilst Liberia and Guinea lost $188 and $184 million respectively. The WHO has classified the re-emergence of Lassa fever, yellow fever and Zika virus as global health threats alongside HIV/AIDS. The threat is worst affecting lower and middle-income countries. Researchers, scientists and health experts from across the continent are conferring to share lessons learned from the global response to these infections and to assess Africa's preparedness to curtail emerging viral infections.
Prevention pays, and it is prudent for us to increase awareness on the emerging and re-emerging infectious diseases, invest and strengthen systems for prevention, early detection, and enhance our preparedness for effective responses. This is the surest way to mitigate the negative impacts of these hazards.
Zimbabwe's Minister for Health and Children, Dr. David Parinyatua, admonished African leaders to admit that the continent is rendered vulnerable by its fragile health systems, poor infrastructure, and poor surveillance systems. Hence, the need to invest in healthcare delivery.
Our systems of health delivery are weak. Why are they weak? Poor infrastructure, poor disease surveillance systems. Let's admit it and let's address them. We want to praise ourselves and say, no, let's address it's real. There is poor laboratory capacities. I'm glad Ghana now you are able to test for the region for Lassa. That's really good. But generally, it's poor. And I know we're talking about the Africa Center for Disease Control and decentralizing it. And I think we should not lull ourselves. We have got poor transport systems.
A representative of the WHO Africa region, Dr. Owen Kaloa, implored African countries to adhere to the implementation of the international health regulations to make their health systems more alert, responsive and resilient.
There's no doubt that weak and fragile health systems hamper emergency response. While the international health regulations integrated disease surveillance and disease risk management strategies, among others, have been developed and are being implemented in the region, weak health systems, coupled with inadequate resources, hinder adequate responses to emergencies. Hence, for a meaningful, effective, and sustainable emergency preparedness, strengthening national health systems needs to be prioritized and is an imperative. The importance of country leadership, ownership, and alignment of partner agendas to support country priorities cannot be overemphasized.
Personalities who had distinguished themselves in the last decade playing major roles in the fight against HIV/AIDS, including Dr. Angela L. Adas of the Ghana AIDS Commission, were honored. Cyril Furi, GBC24, Accra.
Still in health news, a 56-year-old teacher, Mr. Antonio Pontebiri, has been diagnosed with a lesion of the spine. He was a French teacher at the Ola Senior High School at Kenyase in the Bonoafo region. He is now confined to a wheelchair, unable to move his limbs, and feels severe pains. Doctors say his condition is fast deteriorating and he is appealing to the general public to raise 134,000 Ghana cedis to enable him to undergo surgery abroad.
The human spine is made up of 33 bones stacked on each other by a cartilage to form an S shape. It comprises of the cervical located in the neck region, the thoracic in the middle back, and the lumbar, as well as the sacral, making up the lower back. The spine provides support for the body, allows movement, and protects the spinal cord. Mr. Anthony Tebri has a lesion on his cervical spine, which has compressed his spinal cord. This has made it difficult for him to move his limbs. He needs an urgent surgery to relieve the compression on his spinal cord. This is also to prevent total paralysis of his limbs.
I feel really nervous. The two hands you see, the way I'm moving them are the best I can use for them. I can use them to eat. I can use them in movement in any other way. They are just hanging. When I touch anything, I don't feel I have touched anything at all. Please help me so that I could travel down there to Germany for this program to be righted.
We are on our knees begging fellow Ghanaians, philanthropists, to help us with the amount.
His doctors at the Komfo Anochi Teaching Hospital say he is better off receiving treatment abroad due to the complexity of his condition. He therefore requires 134,000 Ghana cedis. All donations can be sent to the Agricultural Development Bank, ADB, account number 702-107-003-498-2801, Domahinkro branch, or contact Mr. Tebri on 0206-612-146 or 0245-151-827. Any amount will be highly appreciated.
Good evening and update from the world of sports. I'm Theophilus Sampa. The 2016 Olympic Games officially starts in Rio tonight with the opening ceremony at the Maracanã Stadium. Athletes from 206 nations and a refugee team are in Brazil to compete in 28 sporting disciplines and will be watched by a global audience of billions. The build-up has been dominated by Russian doping scandal, the Zika virus, and issues with the city's security, infrastructure, and venues. But it is time for the sporting action to take center stage. GTV and GTV Sports Plus will telecast it live tonight at 22:50 GMT. The mention of Ampi Charles Kelly, 2-man 2, brings fond memories to many of a certain generation. Come Saturday, August 6th, the Astro Park in Jowolo in Accra will host 20 events, which will include these and more childhood games as participants relive their childhood. At this program dubbed the AMPE League, organizers will also provide free medical screening for hepatitis B. The league is in its third year.
There are many sporting activities, some of which have seemingly fizzled out over the years. Some of these disciplines are tagged as being lesser known and often receive little or no funding at all.
This is the starting 7 for.
But football in Ghana continues to enjoy adequate funding and hype. For this reason, a team of dedicated female entrepreneurs came up with the idea of the AMPE League to bring people from all walks of life on one platform to access healthcare and also participate in some traditional sports events from the past. The founder of Events Pro, organizers of the third edition of the AMPE League, Aram Ikuobu, was upbeat about the event.
This year we are taking hepatitis B. Last year was sickle cell. And this event is organized annually. This is our third year. When people hear AMPE League, they think it's just AMPE, but it's not just AMPE. There are lots of other games. There are video games like FIFA for the boys, there's chaskele, football, snooker, Tumatu, a lot of games. A lot of these days, these kids don't know what we used to play in the past. All they know is iPad or I don't know, video games and all of that. We wanted to bring the part so that they have a feel of what it is like.
The coordinator, Mliwanu Sepenu, also spoke to GBC24.
The rate is just a cool 15 Ghana cedis, and it's happening at Astros Park, Jowolo. 6th August, that's tomorrow, from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. Yes.
But what would you tell us about how the event has been for the past 3 years?
So far, so good. The turnout has been very good. We get people of all kinds coming in, all ages, guys. There are people, when people hear AMPE, they think it's only girls, but then we need the guys there for support. So children, we have games for children, the parents can come. We have something for everyone. And the events have been very good so far. Yeah, but this year we hope it will be better than the previous years.
The AMPE League brings some nostalgia for many a Ghanaian born a few decades ago. A regular participant, Princess Ahinkai Ankoma, shared her experience.
Last year, I went for AMPE League at the Astros Park in Jowolo, and it was actually a good turnout because there were games, there were guys actually playing AMPE, and that was just a thrill. And then also some females were also involved in the foosball. You know the foosball they play with the board. Yeah, so basically it's a good thing. And I didn't even know about much about sickle cell, but then because of the health talk they do, we learned a lot about it, and then there's free screening. So it's actually really fun and also encouraging for the youth to be involved. Also the old people should come because, you know, you have to relive the good days, you know. Because actually me growing up, I didn't really experience much of chaskele, but, you know, we play these things and I'm like, wow, okay. 90s and 80s were really fun.
So what game would you be playing this time around?
This time around, I'm going to play the foosball, the chaskele. Last year I played AMPE, so this time around I'm doing the sporting stuff, the guy stuff, yes. And then I'm going to bring a lot of my friends too, because, you know, it has to be a global something very soon.
With the help of some benevolent organizations, the AMPE League is making strides by providing healthcare services free of charge to participants at a gathering for childhood games. Rebecca Ewa for News Sports.
The quarter-final stage of the ongoing Sanford Women's FA Cup will come off this Saturday and Sunday. Officials from the Ghana Immigration Service and some real ladies have promised nothing but sweet victory. An exciting encounter is expected at the four venues when the quarter-final matches of the Sanford Women's FA Cup matches takes place. Two teams in the Southern Zone, the Ghana Immigration Service and Samria Ladies, are hoping to win their respective matches. Samria Ladies face Police in a crunch tie at the Tesano Park. The encounter for Police will be a revenge after losing to them a week ago in the league. Manager of Samria Ladies, Anna Saidu Thunder, is sure of a win.
The game is not going to be easy. But I think you preparing well, psyching the girls up and then motivating them, I think you are going to yield your results. So I think The girls, Samira girls, are ready for this game. They promised us to give us a win, and I'm sure ever since the commencement of the second round, they have changed. They are well prepared for each and every game. You know, we don't pile up games; we take game one after the other. So I'm very much sure that Samira will do something.
Team manager of Immigration Service says nothing can stop them.
We are going to take the cup because I think Kazakh is one of the best teams, and we've beaten them. So we're going all out to take the cup this time.
Here are the parents for Saturday. At the Ohinia Mayal Park in Techiman, Ampim Dakwa will tackle Ashtown ladies. At Tesano Police Park, police ladies will face Samria ladies. On Sunday, the Wesley College Park Kumasi will see Fabulous ladies welcoming Real Upper ladies. And at the Elwak Sports Stadium, Immigration ladies will face Holy Royals.
The Ghana Premier League enters March Day 23 this weekend. Here are the parents as Sugakofe Wafa will be taking on Accra Hearts of Oak. At the Secondary Park, Azakes will face Adriana Stars. Brekum Chelsea will take on Liberty Professionals. At Kumasi, Kotoko will face Dreams FC. Techiman City will battle Ebusian Dwarfs. Ash Gold will be at the Obuasi Lenkle Stadium and take on UDBC. Tema Interallies will face Media Maisi, and at the Wa Park, Wow Stars will lock horns with Bichim United. That's all for sports.
Welcome back. In the arts and entertainment segment, family, friends and sympathizers of the late high life musician Dasibre Dramina will celebrate his life at his family house in Koforidua on the 12th of August 2016. According to his family, this commemoration of the second week of the funeral, as agreed by the two families, will permit the burial of Dasibre in line with Islamic tradition. The award-winning artist passed away on Friday, July 29 at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital in Accra after an illness. Budding artist B. Wright has shared some difficulties a number of artists encounter as they try to fit in the music industry. He was our guest on our showbiz segment on GBC24.
What comes into the formation of your music, the lyrics?
Okay, let me use this direction for instance.
Okay.
Like, when you look at the concept of the song, many young guys are into these situations. Like right now, you are with your lady, but things are not going well. But you like the girl, but you are trying to tell her, it's gonna be war one day, so she should just be with you. And I'm trying to cut some message across to the ladies, the young ladies, that they shouldn't be like, when you want to come out, it's very difficult to come out. If you don't have someone who is gonna help you, it's very difficult. But I think, looking back in the Western world, they really pay attention, and even Nigerians really pay attention to the up-and-coming artists. Looking at these Correde Bello and Ricardo Banks, they were from nowhere, but they're all over the place now. So some of us, and most people like me, up-and-coming artists, they are really talented, you see. But it's like, if you are in the industry already, everything is that swift for you. But if you're not coming, it's quite difficult.
And what is your color preference? Do you know its significance and what it means? In our art and entertainment segment today, we put the spotlight on the color green.
The color green represents nature, money, fertility, and safety. Green is a relaxing color that is pleasant to the eye and is believed to have healing powers. It is often used to represent anything that has to do with health. Many pharmaceutical and nutritional companies use green color in their logos and their material to advertise safe and natural products. Green is an emotionally positive color, giving us the ability to love and nurture ourselves and others unconditionally. There are different types of the green color: the navy green, apple green, forest green, light green, just to mention a few.
And before we go, the 2016 Olympic Games officially starts in Rio tonight with the opening ceremony at the Maracana Stadium. GTV and GTV Sports Plus will bring you a live telecast of the ceremony at 11 p.m. immediately after the late edition of the news.
Thank you so much for staying on for News Hour.